Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. Back again with another G.I. Joe action figure review. Today we are looking at the past and present box set featuring the Rockslide ATV and Snow Job. So this came out about the time of the Rise of Cobra line. And it's a really cool set here, as you can see. It features the original vintage release of Snow Job and the original Rockslide ATV, which used to be known as the Polar Bear. And then the new version from the movie line, the new Snow Job and the new Rockslide ATV. Very cool looking package. The concept here is just really awesome. You get to see what it used to be like and then what they've changed it to be now. I think this was a Target exclusive, according to the package anyways. Very cool looking. The top doesn't look too much, but on the back we've got the cool box art here for the new version and the old version here. Very awesome. Then on the bottom we have the two figure cards, file cards, the Snow Job. And for some reason, they've included a picture of Frostbite here instead of Snow Job. I don't know what that's about, but it is what it is. So, yeah, very cool looking set. I really wish they'd done more of these, but I think this is really the only one they did like this. Anyway, we're going to open this thing up and see what it has to offer. Surprisingly enough, these things don't go for a whole lot nowadays, so you might be lucky enough to get one for a very small price. And it looks like it's going to be easiest to open both sides and pull them out that way. Kind of weird packaging here. On the bottom of these things we've got the accessory bags with the figure accessories and any accessories for the vehicles. So we'll pop those out real quick. And the figures themselves. So yeah, really cool looking so far. Just get this stuff off the cardboard here. And then the actual vehicles have some twisty ties holding them in place. So we'll go ahead and snip them off. A lot of packaging materials here. Then the vehicles just lift out of their little plastic trays. And we've got this twisty tie thing going around the front axles of the Rockslide. There we go. So, in this set we get the Polar Bear, the Rockslide, the new version of Snow Job, the original vintage version of Snow Job, and the accessories for both of them. So, very cool. We'll go ahead and zoom in now and take a closer look at each of these individually. We'll start out by taking a look at these accessory packs. They're fairly easy to tell apart just by looking at the, well, you can look at the actual blueprints and tell which ones they are, or you can actually look at the accessories and tell. With the older vintage version, you've got the old style backpack, the larger foot pegs, and the looks like they got the same machine gun, but the only real accessories in there for the vehicle are the two missiles. Likewise with the new 25th version, we've got the hood for Snow Job here, and the goggles, the newer style backpack. If you can flip the skis around to see the foot pegs. Hopefully we can flip them around. You'll notice that they are slightly smaller than the vintage version, so that's cool. So we'll start with the vintage version first here. Single piece of tape holding it together. That I didn't do a good job of cutting. I'll leave the actual accessories for the figures in the bags, and we'll look at them along with the actual figures themselves here in a few minutes. So I'm just going to take out the vehicle accessories first, and then just toss these in with the figures so we can look at them later. We've got the cool two little missiles here for the Polar Bear thing, sticker sheet, and the blueprints. Pretty cool. And let's go ahead and open up the second accessory kit, the new Rise of Cobra version. And likewise, the only real accessories for the vehicle are the two missiles. Everything else will be reviewed with the figure a little on in the review. So we have the two larger missiles on this one, another sticker sheet, the new G.I. Joe logo on it, and the blueprints for the newer Rockslide. Pretty cool. So here is the original Rockslide ATV, otherwise known as the Battle Bear. Very cool looking. This was used from the original mold, and it still holds up pretty well given the fact that this came out like in originally, what, 1983, 84, I believe. As far as the instructions or anything, we really don't have any. All you have to do is take the missiles and attach them to the front skis. And they just snap in place right there. Same thing for the other side. Just line up the little peg looking thing with the little peg hole. Pretty straightforward. And that's all the assembly there is. It's a very cool looking little vehicle. The front ski turrets turn all the way around. It's got a nice little wheel system here in the bottom. Then you also have the gun turret on the front that does rotate left and right. Not a whole lot, but quite a bit of movement there actually. I'm actually surprised. And if you'll notice, these little wing things here kind of help move that back and forth. Very cool. The steering wheel is a kind of an old school looking thing. It moves up and down a little bit, but not really much else. You've got this cool little handrail thing here, so you can have another character hold on to one of the rails there. 2 foot pegs on the back. A tow system here on the back. That was a really cool thing they did when all the vintage vehicles, or most of them anyways, where you could tow other vehicles with that. The other thing that's not really pointed out here is the fact that it does have an engine cover that is removable. So you just grab it and kind of pull in on it and it pops out. It's got these 2 little pegs that hold it in place, unlike some of the older versions that had the tabs on them. This works a lot better. It's got some nice detail work on that engine anyways. Very nice. And again, it is made for the original style vintage figures, so the foot pegs on the back are a little too big for the modern figures, so you can't actually stand any of the modern figures on here, but you can stand them up and they can still grab hold of the rails and things like that. As far as some comparisons go, we've got Beachhead from the 25th anniversary line here that we use in most of our reviews for comparisons. He fits in the driver's seat very easily, so this thing is still compatible with the new 25th anniversary line. Just you can't stand the figures on the back, which is a nice touch. It is a very cool looking vehicle. It's a nice ski mobile from back in the day, I guess you could say. It's very reminiscent of the one that you kind of see in Die Hard 2, except it's got missiles and guns on it and things like that. So yeah, this is a cool vehicle. I do like it a lot more than I remember from the vintage line. I had one of these as a kid that I got like secondhand at a yard sale or something, and I never used it a whole lot, but it still stands up really well. I'm actually surprised here. We'll slap some stickers on it here in a few minutes and we'll be done with that one. And here we have the new Rise of Cobra version of the Rockslide ATV. As you can see, it definitely is a little bit more aggressive looking than that the traditional one. Still a very cool looking vehicle though. As far as the accessories go, all we actually have are the 2 missiles. They load into the 2 cannons on the front skis. Just line them up and just press them into place, and they are spring loaded. There's a little button here on the side. You press that to fire the missiles. And they have quite a bit of good spring action going on there, so that's very cool. We do have this one little rubber band thing holding the canopy in place. So we'll go ahead and slice that off. Pull it out and throw it away. As far as the features go, the front treads have not an independent suspension, but they do move in unison here, so they will move left and right. They don't move a lot left or right, but still they do move, so you can have quite a bit of range of motion on that there. We also have another wheel going on here in the back on the treads, and a lot of nice detail work going on this thing all the way around. The actual tread itself does pivot a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit, so you can get it to turn a little. Very cool looking though. Then the actual canopy itself just flips open like so, and you've got access to the driver's cockpit there. Some nice detail work going on in there. The steering wheel has some nice little molded in features. I don't know how well this kind of shows up in here. You can see some of the diamond tread on the floorboards and some of the console details down there too. Pretty cool looking. As far as the G.I. Joes themselves go with the 25th anniversary line, they fit in here really easily. Lots of room in there. Just kind of press them down in place, then drop the canopy down, and you're good to go. Really only seats one figure, and they don't have any foot pegs on the back of these things, unfortunately. So it's really made for a one-man vehicle. But in a pinch, you can have these other guys ride in the back like this right here. If you need to, you can stick their feet a little further inwards. But they actually sit pretty comfortably there on the back. So, kind of cool. They'll have a cold ride, but they can still do it though anyways. So yeah, this is a very nice looking vehicle. Not quite as impressive as you might think, but it holds its own. It's a nice little small one-man vehicle, and it does the trick pretty easily there. So yeah, pretty cool. And here we have a quick side-by-side comparison. And we'll throw in a Beachhead here again just for size comparison. So the Polar Battle Bear here is about 2 figures tall. Maybe just a little bit more going to the tips of the gun. Same thing for the new Rockslide. One about 2. And about 1 wide. And not quite 1 wide here for that. So very similar styles here, the same function. The new Rockslide is definitely much more heavily armored. Will take a lot more abuse, I would say, if you're in an actual fight with them. But yeah, it's still very nice to see the two of them side by side and compared like this. It's very interesting to see the evolution of vehicle design from Hasbro. So yeah, these are cool sets. The figures up next. First we have the vintage release of Snow Job. He comes on the traditional explosion-y background thing here, so that's very cool looking. He's held in place by a couple of these little rubber bands here, so we'll go ahead and slice them off. And pull the figure out. And pull those rubber bands off here. The figure itself is, again, it's the vintage version of this thing, so it's, not got the same articulation as we're used to with the new 25th anniversary, obviously. But it's nice to kind of look back and see how these things were back in the early 80s. And this is essentially the same version. They've got a little bit of a different paint job on this guy. I don't remember this particular gray. But again, it's been a very long time since I've actually seen my vintage Snow Job figure. But this is a nice approximation of them, so very cool looking. As far as articulation goes, the head does only spin left and right. And it only goes about shoulder length or whatever you want to call it there. So this was back before they added the actual complete swivel head that would move up and down and left and right and all that good stuff. So still pretty nice. They have the traditional ball and swivel at the elbow joint, a swivel at the bicep, and a hinge joint at the elbow. And considering what it was way back in the day, that is still very good articulation. You still get a pretty good range of everything. Got the traditional waist twist Lots of range of motion there. They're held in place by that big old rubber band. The traditional T-hook at the waist and at the hip joints, so you get the full range of motion that we're used to here. Single knee joints, and that's pretty much it for articulation. So not a lot of detail work on the actual figure himself. He does have a couple of pouches here that are sculpted in very nicely. Some nice mittens and some nice detail work on his gloves here. Beyond that, not a whole lot of detail, like you say. The face sculpt is very nice. You can see his beard very clearly. Nice job on the detail there. So yeah, all in all, it's a pretty good figure. Again, it's hard to compare it with the ones that we have today simply because that we're so used to the more aggressive sculpting techniques and things like that. But, you know, taken in context, very cool figure. So let's take a look at the accessories while we're here. I'm just going to dump them out here. So we get a cool looking backpack, the awesome assault rifle, 2 ski poles, and 2 sets of skis, or 1 set of skis. Pretty nice looking. The backpack itself has the larger peg that fits into the back where they're screwed together. These things fit really nicely, no problems there whatsoever. The skis themselves have the traditional peg in the bottom of them. You just line them up with the larger peg hole in the bottom of their feet and they just snap in place. They go on very nicely, very easily. The other thing about this particular figure is his backpack doubles as his ski holders. So you'll notice the 2 holes in the back of the backpack. You just line up the skis with those holes there and press them in place and they lock in place so he can carry his skis around with him even if they're not on his feet. If I can get it to line up right. There we go. And it's a nice little touch that they did way back there in the day. It's always nice when you have the ability of adding those accessories to the backpack so they can actually carry it around with them, because you know he's not going to be skiing in every situation, unfortunately. So then we've got the nice ski poles that fit around his hands, little loops there. It is a little bit hard to actually hold the skis themselves because they're a little bit oversized for the actual hand grip itself. These figures were prone to having the thumbs actually break very easily, which is one reason I'm used to not actually having put them in his hands too awful much, simply because they would tend to break a little bit more. So you got to be a little bit more careful with them, but still they fit in there pretty easily. And I think they've actually fixed this particular one so the plastic itself is much softer than the vintage version, so you actually can hold this thing pretty easily, so you shouldn't have any trouble with that. But still, a little bit of history lesson anyways. Then also on his backpack, he has these 2 little slots on the side here that are the perfect size to slap these ski poles in. And they just snap in place like that, so he can carry his ski poles on his back at the same time with his skis. So very nice little touches there. You can kind of spread them out so you can see the little straps on them a little bit easier. And then the gun itself is the traditional G.I. Joe assault rifle that we all know and love from the cartoon series. Very nice detail work on it. Can't really seem to catch any light today off of this, but still nice detail work on this. It fits in his hand very easily. And there you go. You've got your vintage snow job ready for action. Very awesome little figure. The second figure in this set is the new modern version of Snow Job. He comes in a more traditional Rise of Cobra package here. We've got this cool little briefcase that comes with him. We'll open it up here in a second. Got this weird thing there for the thing, and then on the back he has also got a couple of these straps holding him in. So let's slice them open, pull the figure out, and get rid of these little rubber bands holding everything in. So yeah, pretty cool. And dump out his accessories here as well. Let's take a look at the briefcase first. These things just slide open, and for a while they were including a little code to go onto their website, so you could crack the code to help Joe stop Cobra. Pretty cool, but they've kind of stopped doing that, and as you can see, there was nothing in this one, so it was just an extra briefcase. So it's a nice little accessory to have. You can give them something to fight over if you need to, but it's kind of a throwaway accessory piece. The figure itself is pretty cool looking. It's a nice update to the classic version of Snow Job. Again, they put a lot of detail work into this thing. And they've done a really good job of capturing the original essence of Snow Job here. They've changed out his paint pattern a little bit more. The brown in his arms is a little bit different than what we're used to, but it's a really nice sculpt. They did a really good job with all around. He does still have his traditional red beard here. Articulation wise, the head does spin 360 degrees and has up and down motion, so very cool there. Traditional ball and swivel at the shoulder, ball and swivel at the elbow, and then the wrist is just a simple twist action. So pretty cool. At the waist, he does have waist twist here and ab crunch feature. And he's got quite a range of motion there. Traditional T-hook at the hip joint. His molded cloth parka here kind of comes down a little bit and covers up a little bit of his waist here. So you are slightly hampered on your side-to-side motion, but front and back, you're really not whatsoever. So nice job there. He does have the traditional double knee joint here, and a swivel and rocker at his feet here for his ankle articulation. So all in all, very cool, very nice job here. He does also have this cool little holster on his side here for a pistol, but unfortunately there is not a pistol included in this particular set, so that's kind of a shame. I guess I'll have to grab one of my extra ones from somewhere else and give it to him, but yeah, that's really the only thing I don't like about this, is that they didn't include a pistol for that. Slight oversight, I guess, on their part, but no big deal. Again, some really nice detail work here. You can see some little bit of chain here at the top. We can get it to come in a little closer and focus maybe. Nice silver highlight there at the top, and you can see where some of his straps have some little silver pieces on them. Just all in all, a really good job on the actual detail work on the actual costume itself. Little canister here for some clips or some explosive charges or something like there. But yeah, very cool looking figure. Very nice looking all the way around. Let's take a look at the rest of the accessories here. He's got basically the same backpack as the one we just looked at in the vintage line, updated and tooled to the new standard for the smaller peg on the back. It does fit in his back very easily, and it does have a nice carrying strap on it at the top there if you want to have him carrying it. So he's got the same skis as the vintage line, And they have the same feature. Again, they are the smaller peg holes, so these will only work with the newer 25th anniversary and up. But you just do the same thing. You line the peg holes up with the bottom of his feet and just snap them in place, and he can go off skiing downhill and wherever you need to go. They stay in place very well. They did also carry over the same feature for the ski attachment here. So you line the peg up with the peg hole in the back and just snap them in place, and he can carry these skis around with him. So also a very nice touch. It looks like they included the same set of ski poles as the vintage line here. I guess if they work, there's no real reason to change that, is there? So you can stick it over his arm with the loop, or you can stick it into his hand and let him hold it. He grips it very easily. You don't have to worry about it breaking anything because it is made of, the hands are made of that soft plastic there. So very cool looking. And again, the same thing applies to the backpack. They've got the ski pole holders on the side there, so you just kind of line them up and press it in place, and for the most part it'll go in there. I'm going to use the gun here for a second to pop that in place. My hands are too big to get in there, but add the other ski here, or sorry, ski pole. That's close enough. So yeah, very cool that they actually allow it to work like that. Nice little nod to the original vintage line figure there, so really cool. And again, he comes with the same gun, same detail work, everything, so no surprises here. The traditional machine gun assault rifle of the G.I. Joe team from the cartoon series from way back when, so no surprises there. No disappointment either, luckily. So that one pole don't want to stay in place. There we go. Then as far as the other accessories go, we have a pair of goggles here. Some nice detail work on that. They're clear in the front, so you can actually see through them. You can just pop that over top of his head and slide it down over his eyes. And then he has a cool little hood to go along with everything, and that just fits over top of his head like so. And voila, you've got your fully armed, ready for battle, modern Rise of Cobra snow job. Very cool looking, man. I actually really like this figure. The new paint job works well. And it actually does fit in very well with the Rockslide ATV. Kind of has the same paint job scheme going on. They did a really good job with this figure. So yeah, pretty cool. And here we have the two snow job figures side by side for comparison. You can definitely see the similarities in all of these things. And they've done a really good job of updating this figure to the new modern line. And still retaining that same essence of snow job. Really the only difference in the old one and the new one from that aesthetic look really is just the fact that they added some of this camouflage paint to his wardrobe instead of the straight white outfit. So I think it works pretty well in honesty, and again, it's a really solid figure, and Snow Job as a character is always a cool character, no pun intended there. So yeah, very awesome little evolution of Snow Job here. And here we have the figures and the vehicles all side by side for comparison here. All in all, this is a really awesome set here. You do get two figures and two vehicles in this little set here. it's really a very awesome concept here to see the evolution of the not only the vehicles but the characters themselves, the actual figures. Snow Job from the original line and Snow Job from the new Rise of Cobra modern line, as well as the Rockslide ATV. Yeah, just really awesome little set here. If you haven't picked it up already, I really recommend it. It doesn't actually go for a whole lot more than the actual Rockslide ATV by itself, which was available as its own little package deal here. So if you don't already have the Rockslide, I definitely recommend picking this set up. The Battle Bear version of the Rockslide here is a nice little throwback to add to your new modern collection here. And it still works really well with the new vintage line, or sorry, the new modern line. And if you didn't have one from the old vintage line, it's nice to go ahead and throw in a new one into the mix there, so you have it sitting on the shelf with a new minty fresh Snow Job from back in the day kind of thing. So price point wise, yeah, it's definitely worth picking up from the price point perspective, unless these things start shooting up in price again. Yeah, I really can't say anything bad about this set. Other than the fact that it did not come with any figure stands, which is a shame, but most of the vehicles in this particular line actually had that feature lacking anyhow, so not really a surprise here. But other than that, yeah, just a solid release here. I'm actually a lot more impressed than I thought I was going to be with this set, so awesome job with this. I do want them to release more sets like this, because it would be awesome to see the Vamp, for instance, in the original release back from the 80s, and then the new Vamp Mark II side by side. All sorts of possibilities here that they could do. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching. Drop us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this set. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Keep on the lookout for new and exciting action figure reviews coming down the pipe. Until next time, Yo Joe.